Johnny Depp is back as the face of Dior Sauvage elixir fragrance. The Pirates of the Caribbean star returned for his first commercial campaign for the cologne since his trial against ex-wife Amber Heard wrapped up in 2022. In the sultry 30-second clip, the 60-year-old actor recites poetry while donning black clothing and silver jewelry while he plays a guitar.
In the wilderness, fearless and human, Sauvage elixir, Dior.
The Edward Scissorhands star has been the face of the fragrance since 2015, but there were questions surrounding his future with the company in the midst of his highly publicized defamation case against Amber Heard. After Johnny won the trial last summer, he reportedly made $20 million to re-up his company with Dior earlier this year, making it the biggest men's fragrance deal ever, according to Variety. Since the trial wrapped up more than a year ago, Netflix has made a documentary about the case titled Depp v. Heard. Johnny's lawyer in the trial, Camille Vasquez, exclusively gave Access Hollywood her take on the docuseries and the social media impact of last year's high-profile trial.
We had no idea that there was this media social storm brewing outside.
Can you please tell the jury why you're here today?
Miss Heard accused me of abuse.
My ex-husband is suing me.
Brutal, cruel,
This is humiliating for any human being to go through.
and all false.
Camille, Depp versus Heard, what was it like for you to go back and relive that trial via the docuseries?
It was fascinating. I mean, just to see the way that Emma put together that docuseries, I found it really interesting. She utilized the court testimony in a way that told a really compelling, truthful account of what took place inside those four walls in Virginia.
And you know, there was what was taking place within those four walls, and then there was the world outside. There was the social media firestorm. What was it like for you really being at the center of that?
You know, it's interesting, and that's a great question, because while we were there inside doing our jobs, we didn't really understand the impact this case was having on social media all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, towards the end, we started getting messages or people sending us things, but really for the most part, we had no idea that there was this media social storm brewing outside.
I don't think I've seen anybody do a better job. So go Camille Vasquez.
So you were unaware that there were essentially millions of people talking about you every day online.
We really were unaware, and I'm grateful that we weren't aware at the time, because we did have a job to do, and we were so incredibly busy during that time that we didn't have the time to focus on what was happening outside of our war rooms and that courtroom.
It was an act of profound cruelty, not just to Mr. Depp, but to true survivors of domestic abuse. For Ms. Heard to hold herself out as a public figure representing domestic abuse. It was false, it was defamatory, and it caused irreparable harm.
What was it like for you watching yourself in court?
What I see is actually somebody that has always believed in her client and a true advocate. I see my expressions to the evidence that's coming forward, and I very much knew the case very, very well. I knew the evidence, and I was advocating at all times for my client.
Was there one key moment when you knew that you'd won the jury over?
I don't think that we could ever be 100% sure, but there were some key moments during the trial. Johnny Depp's testimony, I think, was a key moment when he was finally, after 6 years, able to tell his side of the story.
I felt the responsibility of clearing the record as the only way that I could get to the point where I could speak has really taken this full 6 years, and it's been 6 years of trying times.
For 6 years, what we had were what we say unfounded allegations made by his ex-wife Amber Heard against him, and no response, public or otherwise, from Johnny Depp until he filed this lawsuit. And he was able to testify there 6 years later. I also think that her cross-examination, which I had the honor of doing on behalf of Mr. Depp, was a pivotal moment.
Okay.
Being able to confront her with her own words was so important to Mr. Depp and to our overall strategy.